What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and this is going to be episode 2 of All Hail the King. Just in case you're not familiar with this series, it is based on the podcast segment titled All Hail the King. It's basically a video companion to that segment, but in order for you to stay up to date on this series, you will want to tune in the From the Helicarrier podcast, and you can find that at www.thehelicarrier.com. I will place a link to the corresponding podcast in the description below, so make sure you check that out. And tune in on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern on Twitch TV/The Helicarrier. Trust me, the show is amazing live, and you can chat with the hosts. Also, I may try to make an appearance in the chat. Now back to this video. Currently, what you're seeing is my original setup for this team. I was originally using the Empowered Infiltrator costume, the Blurred Empowered ISO 8 on my agent, Dr. Voodoo with Explosive and Resonant, and then Emma Frost with Distant. That gives her Sharpshooter. And in the podcast I did notice that someone mentioned this exact Empowered ISO 8, and they were 100% correct. Since this team is entitled Magic Trauma, and really relies on that mental trauma spam, the Distant Empowered ISO 8 is perfect for Emma, because it does raise the critical hit rate of any ranged attack. Like I said, this was the original setup for this team, but I did switch a few things as I went along. The first changes I made were I dropped the Mystic and the Neurotrope. I replaced them with the Warbringer Axe and the Savant Spear. Truthfully, I had way more fun with the original design, but you do sometimes have to switch with your environment. Then the final change was the switch from the Empowered Infiltrator armor to the Bruiser Power armor, and this was almost solely because of Deadpool. So like I said, once again you have to adapt, you roll with the punches. This is one of the most important things to keep in mind when you're doing PvP. You have to be aware of what your opponents are using and what type of teams are giving you trouble. But here goes our first mental trauma. And just look at all those critical hits. Now it does a pretty decent amount of damage right there, but it's nothing compared to what it's capable of once you have some buffs. For example, if you have War Frenzy, or you have Strengthened, or even if you get Cosmic Power, you'll see a drastic increase in damage. But mental trauma doesn't only do damage, it also has a high chance to put migraine on the opponent. This will lower the damage of their next attack, so that can come in really handy against a team that relies on high damage. Any Quick Strike, Alpha Strike team that's either kill or be killed. And you also should realize that Dr. Voodoo is capable of going phased, and then Emma Frost has her diamond skin. So these are both very resilient characters. And in just one moment, on Dr. Voodoo's turn, I will show you that phased move. Like I said in the podcast, it's one of the two really important abilities for this team up. Oh, right there, Emma Frost on their team did get Cosmic Power, so she does quite a bit of damage to our entire team. Now on Dr. Voodoo's first turn, I go to his level 6 multi-function ability and choose Spirit Possession. This will cause him to go phased. Now even if the enemy has Mystic Shroud, and I can't possibly possess them, I will still more often than not use that ability just for the fact that Dr. Voodoo will no longer be able to be hit by most attacks. When he's phased, he'll only be damaged by psychic and magic attacks, and he does have that magic warding, so that'll actually help with magic as well. Now unfortunately my agent was taken out, but I will say that it's not going to make that much of a difference for this team. They are very capable of handling one person down. Not to mention my Emma Frost now has Strengthened, so look at that damage. She just shredded the enemy team with one ability. And now just imagine that cast multiple times, because on your second round, you'll be able to use Dr. Voodoo's level 9. Normally you'll have all your teammates alive, so this will give Emma Frost 2 extra turns. But right now it's just going to give her 1, because we did unfortunately lose our agent. This is still well worth the trade-off because she will finish Emma Frost and Deadpool both, and then she still would have got her normal turn for the round. So if everything works out perfectly and you have all 3 of your characters alive, she'll get to cast 3 times mental trauma in 1 round. Alright, so that's the setup, and in our second battle, we're facing a War Machine and Quicksilver team. This is another team that I've been running recently, and I really do refer to them as a buzzsaw, because they're capable of mowing down the enemy so fast with that machine gun barrage and then Quicksilver's attacks. So I'll actually take a closer look at them in a video I'll post later this week. But for now I have the difficult task of defeating them. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out by unlocking our potential. Then I'm going to try to do the most damage possible with a mental trauma. There will be no reason to cast Psychic Tap because they do have Mystic Shroud still. And now the turn order is pretty bad because you would like to have Dr. Voodoo phased before War Machine gets a chance to go. If not, it is very likely that he will kill Dr. Voodoo, especially if it's a tactician. But you know what, sometimes turn order works out this way, and it's actually going to show us something. The fact that you don't need all 3 members to win. In fact, very often I'll lose either Emma or Dr. Voodoo, and then the other character is fully capable of winning. So here goes the last Repulsor Ray. But we do keep Dr. Voodoo alive, so never mind, it looks like we'll get a chance. Although he still may die before he gets to go phased. With our agent, we're going to use quick reflexes, then the scroll, so now we remove Mystic Shroud, and now I'm going to try to kill their agent, that way he doesn't kill Dr. Voodoo. So it looks like we'll do plenty of damage to him, but unfortunately he does get reality hacking. However, instead of killing us, he uses Blackest Void. And this will happen, this is kind of a drawback to using the cube on defense. Then our last concern is getting hit from the Blast from the Past. But it looks like we do get the Spirit Possession off. We're now phased. Oh, and you may notice that collateral damage often procs. So that's just another really awesome benefit to using that empowered ISO 8 with Dr. Voodoo. And there you also get to see one of the latest glitches. When you use Spirit Possession on a character that has Quicksilver on their team, they will attack with blinding punches. They also gain a quickness stack, so whenever you hit them they'll do a tag team, and they'll use their weapon oftentimes. So with Deadpool, I've seen him pull out the Happy to See You gun, and he'll do a tag team attack with it out. It's extremely scary to see, but it doesn't do the same amount of damage. Instead it acts just like a tag team. Alright, so our last mental trauma did a pretty good number on their entire team. Now we just have to go ahead and live until Dr. Voodoo can use his level 9. So we'll use the Light Fantastic, and that should do it. Also, Dr. Voodoo is phased, so there's only a little chance that he would be killed. Oh, but that's right, their agent doesn't even get a turn, because when you do use Spirit Possession, the character has to recharge on their next turn. So that's an additional benefit to an already amazing ability. Now after using our level 9 on Emma Frost, she will get 2 extra turns this time. One for the agent, and one for Dr. Voodoo. So if she needed to, she could cast Mental Trauma twice, and then she would get another turn coming up. So that would be the 3rd time. But this time, all she's going to need is 1 attack. Now you may have thought to yourself, there seems to be one glaring weakness to this team. And that's a character that's immune to mental attacks, such as Juggernaut or Magneto. Well, when I face a team like this, I just usually go ahead and spam Mental Trauma anyway. And I pretty quickly and easily dispatch the 2 members that aren't immune. Then in the case of Magneto, my agent deals with him, or in the case of Juggernaut, Dr. Voodoo often takes him out. But right here, War Machine is going next, and they don't have Mystic Shroud, so I start with a Psychic Tap. Like I said, this team doesn't always have to play the same way, and I do have a ton of footage with them, so I will release further videos showing some more nuances of the team. One of the best things about them isn't just the gimmick, it's the fact that they can adapt and play different ways each time. They're far from being a one-trick pony. So look, War Machine already killed Dr. Voodoo, he didn't even get to go phased, and they have Magneto who's immune to psychic attacks. So even in such a bad situation like this team can overcome it. They have countless times for me. So first things first, we do want to try to kill War Machine. But we fail. He has 2,600 HP left. Then, like I said, the enemy often uses that Blackest Void. So that's bad, but it's also not the worst thing that could happen. Now with Emma Frost, we're going to use her mental trauma. It won't affect Magneto, but it'll easily kill War Machine and damage their agent. I also used Unlock Potential on my agent to remove his Disoriented. Oh, and another benefit is it does bypass enemy shields, so it doesn't break that magnetic field. Now we can use the scroll to get rid of the field, and then we'll see what we do from there. There are a few options, such as using the Light Fantastic, but what we're going to do is attack Magneto with the Warbringer Axe. If you use the scroll, it removes Magnetized, and then if you do an attack directly after, Magneto will reapply it, but he won't preemptively strike you. And this has worked like this for me as long as I can remember. So the order in which you do things does matter. When you get ready to use that scroll, make sure you're attacking directly after. Now, combat reflexes is another important reason why I love this armor, and I was kind of disappointed when the volume of Deadpools made me have to switch. Because having the ability to make your attacks stealthy and also counterattack can really come in handy. Now this time with my agent I do use the Light Fantastic, even though the Improbability Field may have even been a better choice. We'll just go ahead and use that on the next turn. For this turn we're definitely going to stay alive. And with the counterattack we should be able to finish their agent and make them proc their sacrificial strength. So the next hit will fully finish them off. And we just have to worry about Magneto. Now here comes Magneto's attack, and he does have sacrificial strength, but he hits Emma Frost, who has mirror reality still. So I think that worked out pretty well. Now with Emma Frost, we can use basically any attack to finish their agent. But I think I got a little carried away because I used her War Diamond, which you will want to save for Magneto. It's the only attack from her that will damage him. Alright, now I will use the Improbability Field, and it's basically just the safest way to play it. In the past, I would have rushed in with a Warbringer Axe, and possibly lost, but it's better to put those dots on, and buff your team and slow play it, and get a guaranteed win. Then with Emma Frost, we pretty much just have to pass, we can't damage him. But she remains as a very difficult hero to kill, and basically our insurance policy. And since we have the scroll up, we'll use that, get rid of Magnetized, and attack Magneto with no worries. So that's going to be the end of the second episode of All Hail the King. I hope you enjoyed the podcast and the video. And next week we'll have another exciting episode for you, so make sure you tune in for that. Lastly, I want to thank you all for watching, and ask you to please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, good luck, and take care.